I think I've been familiar with LEAP almost since the beginning of my time sort of working as an advocate. I started sort of in this area back in the 1980s when I worked for the Centers for Families and Children. And I think that's when I first became acquainted with LEAP. I was always so impressed by both the courage and the knowledge. That people had the courage to step out in ways that a lot of people aren't comfortable doing. Put themselves at risk, kind of in a personal way. Sharing information about themselves to sort of illustrate the point about why we needed to treat people with disabilities better and equally. I mean, anything that we want to do in the area of Medicaid or health policy, we have to talk to LEAP because otherwise we're sort of missing part of the picture. Because the thing about policy and particularly Medicaid and things like that, as I always say, the details are really important. And it's such a big program and has such broad reach that no one person can understand all those details. You really have to pull people together who have that different background, who know the details of how it might affect people with disabilities. And so I count on LEAP to kind of be there and to be a resource for us at the Center for Community Solutions. I think they helped get My Care Ohio on track. I think the state, I think, rushed it through. And I think, LEAP was sort of saying, hey, wait a minute, this isn't working like it says it's supposed to work on paper. We're talking to people with disabilities who are experiencing problems or barriers. So I credit them for things like that and I think the other thing I credit them with is bringing the consumer voice into these conversations and decisions. We make so much better policy when we hear from consumers and when we hear from people who actually live these issues, because it can say one thing on paper, but in practice, it can be entirely different. And I think one of LEAP's biggest accomplishments is bringing the voice of people with disabilities into the room where we make policy. And I mean, I have great respect for Melanie, as your leader. I mean, she has so much information and knows so much about these. I can't imagine doing policy work around healthcare, around income supports, or public benefits without talking to LEAP. LEAP is as relevant today as it was 40 years ago when it started. People may have thought, past the ADA, Supreme Court's upheld it and ruled on it in other ways that, it's all done. It's never done. And I think we need LEAP for another 40 years to sort of, as these issues evolve and get more complicated, not less complicated. We just need them at the table because people with disabilities need somebody like LEAP fighting for them. My wish is that you get bigger and stronger. Keep fighting, keep raising your voice, and when you need to be on the street, be on the street. And keep pushing us because if you don't push us, nobody else will.